Welcome
One
everybody to the Midwifery Forum, Midwifery Hour. It's my pleasure to be here with Sue and Maeve and Catherine, who is supporting us in the background. And I feel a little bit like it's my contribution to helping others this, because obviously I've retired and I don't want people to think, oh, she's doing nothing. And I've put myself through a bit of stress getting these slides done. But I hope it helps you all. And I hope you're all staying safe. And I'm really sorry that there's another lockdown, but we just need to think about our own well-being and health of other people. And I think it's a necessity just for now. So just take care of yourselves. So the hashtag is Midwifery Hour, and the Twitter handle is at Midwifery Forum, and I'm at Jenny the M. So caring for oneself and others. I don't know what's happening. My slides aren't moving now. Oh, hold on. So my take on self-care, I feel that self-care has many aspects, primarily about putting oneself first, which I think we do find it difficult to do. I think everybody finds it difficult to do that, any gender. And I think if you consider a new parent as an example, the focus of care tends to be on the newborn child. Everybody fusses around the baby. And I think that the emphasis should be on the parents first, as they, he, she will be well enough emotionally, physically and spiritually if they do self-care to give care to their, his, her child. And if they, he, she become unwell, depressed, emotionally absent, the child will not receive the care that it needs. So to me, self-care is about nurturing one's soul. And it's really the small things that make the most difference. It doesn't have to be anything huge. It's just little steps that you can take for yourself. So, for example, having a daily shower, or even a shower when you feel a bit stressed, that's quite calming water. A nap, a nourishing meal, seeing a friend and walking in nature. And those are all things that I like to do. Not necessarily always napping, but walking in nature is a big thing with me, because I do like to walk my dog a lot. So I don't know why it doesn't click to the next slide. It's weird, right? So I'm going to talk about tea and compassion now, and just thank Diane Menage, because Diane Menage talks a lot about why when you make somebody a cup of tea at work, it's a very kind and compassionate thing to do, and it makes them feel loved by you. And I think as well, do we say enough thank yous to each other? Because when we say thank you to someone, it might not necessarily be at that moment. It might be later on in our lives. And it helps you so much when you say thank you to someone. You know, if they compliment you, or if they've shown you some kindness in the workplace or even out of the workplace. And Diane's PhD was on women's consideration of what compassionate care made a difference to them, and why compassionate care is so important in midwifery, because it shows that women who receive compassionate care are less likely to feel traumatized long term. That doesn't mean that it minimizes the trauma. It's just that kindness shines through everything. This is a little picture that Diane sent me for my birthday in June, and she had to mention tea, and I just thought it was lovely of her. So that's my next slide. I don't know if anybody's read the book, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse, and it's about kindness, really. And one of the questions in it is, what do you want to be when you grow up, says the horse to the boy, and he says kind. And I think that is just a lovely quote. There's also a quote I've used, and I've edited it, by Nelson Mandela, that there can be no keener revelation of a maternity unit's soul than the way it treats the women and families that it cares for, plus future midwives and maternity staff that work there. So when you're all kind together, and when kindness emanates from higher or from below, then good things happen. And it's been shown that good things happen in units. I found a blog on online by Najma Koralmi for Huffington Post, and she has written out 10 ways to be more kind. Now, there is a link to these, the resources file that I sent to Sue. It will be on later, so don't try and look for it now. I'll read a bit out to you what I thought was really important. Don't discriminate don't discriminate who to be kind to, including yourself. Don't think you don't deserve kindness, and don't think others deserve kindness. And I'm also thinking about the Black Lives Matter campaign. You know, it's really important that we don't see, that we try and understand that women who are Black are 5 times more likely to die in labour and childbirth. And why is that happening? Is it because people aren't being kind to them? What is the situation there? So I think we need to lose discrimination and try and set an example. And somebody who is kind as a role model. Well, one of my role models is actually Sheena Byron, because she's always so kind and understanding to so many people. She has so many people contacting her, asking for advice, and she really tries to help people so much. She's very kind, and she's good with me as well. And try and practice good intention. So when you say something nice to someone else, remember, it's the way you say it that matters. Try and carry good intention with displays of kindness, and practice good intentions. Like, don't expect anything in return for your gesture or compliment. Just do it because it is a nice thing to do. So Sue asked me if I would mention the cloak, and it did go a bit crazy, this cloak analogy. But I tell you what made me think of it was Harry Potter. And I think we all wear a cloak. And on that cloak, our behaviour is embroidered. So if we've been a little bit cruel to somebody, or we've not been nice, or we've been answering back, rolling our eyes, I think all that is embroidered on who you are. So I think it's good to check your behaviour to yourself. Are you being kind? And then also continually question your behaviour to others. Try and lose your complacency, thinking that you are above change or making yourself a different person. And I'd like to just say your behaviour is an invisible cloak. So try and embroider your cloak with kindness, especially goodwill, integrity, truth, honour, professionalism and love. And your kindness will shine through. So last time I talked in April, I have gone through quite a lot during since the first lockdown, because I actually moved house on April the 7th, and that was a huge thing for me to leave, move from my family home. Me and my family have lived there for nearly 30 years. So you can imagine moving from a house to somewhere completely different. I'm now living near my daughter and I'm very happy. And trying to get rid of things because I've moved into a smaller house. And when I did the talk in April, I talked about why it's important to have a sanctuary box, because a sanctuary box is somewhere just for you to put things that make you feel good, like your comfortable slippers, like a little journal, like a book of poetry. I've got my mum's worry egg in there as well. And I kept that sanctuary box intact. And when I moved, my daughter said, why is that going in your car? Why is it not going with the removal van? Because I had to have a 2-day removal because I've moved a long way. And I said, it has to come with me. It's my sanctuary box. And when I get there, it's got aromatherapy in it. It's got my poetry book. It's got my self-care book. I've got to take it with me in the car. And when I woke up the next morning, I was going through it, and it was actually helping me to feel more settled in my new home. So that was a form of self-care. Now, going on to some research, Broderick and Williamson wrote a book called called Listening to Women After Childbirth. And in that book, there is, in chapter 7, I think it is, it's about promoting staff resilience. Now, some of these things are on here. I'm just going to put my part-time glasses on. Interacting components of self-compassion. Self-kindness versus self-judgment, common humanity versus isolation, mindfulness versus over-identification. That is really being aware of painful experiences and not ignoring or exaggerating painful thoughts or emotions. And it was amazing, because when I was reading this, I also read a lot of Brené Brown, and Brené Brown quotes Neff as well as his explanation of self-compassion. And I think self-compassion is something we all need to follow and practice, because if you are kind to yourself, you definitely are kinder to other people. It makes you less likely to have burnout. Further in the book, there is also discussion around, which I'm very keen on talking about, culture. And sometimes in maternity units, there is a culture that says, this is the way things are done around here. And a study looking at the experience of newly qualified midwives repeatedly showed that these midwives feel an expectation to conform to the cultural identity of units, even if that means compromising woman-centred care. So does this mean, this is me just trying to analyse it, that being kind to colleagues is also a compromise? Does it mean that when you're in a culture, that if other people are not being kind and you're new to one another, that stops you from doing it if you're a newly qualified midwife? And this is something I want people to really seriously think about when they have newly qualified midwives working in places. We need to nurture them and show them that we are kind as role models, because then they will pick that up. It will pass to the women and each other. Squaring the Circle by Sheena Down and Sheena Byron and Sue Down. I've got the book here. And I've also got Alison's book, is Chapter 8, The Role of Emotion, Empathy and Compassion in Organisations by Susan Crowther, Cooper Meacham and Ash Canassi. Showed that organisations need to support staff to practice self-compassion. This includes being kind to oneself and reducing self-judgment, and it fosters individual resilience in the face of stress. Compassionate mind training and mindfulness are now starting to appear in some trust training, and it's really positive, this. And I think it says in the book that if maternity organisations fail to attend the impact to attend the impact nature of compassion and empathy, then services will become unsustainable, and staff working in them learn how to care in unrealistic and harmful ways. So mindfulness, compassionate mind training, I know that Maeve is going to go deeper into some of these areas, so I won't go too deep into it, but it's really important that units use it and that we use it for ourselves. I use mindfulness every day and it's helped me tremendously, so much in the past 3 years. So the main thing about self-care is don't allow yourself to be defined by someone else's opinion of you. Just be you. And this is me in Cornwall, embracing the empty beach, and me hiding behind the giant Cornish pasty. My daughter said, "Why are you doing that?" I said, "Because I like being funny." And just be yourself, because that is a form of self-care, not trying to be somebody else. It's expressing your own individualism and your own personality. And also, I'm laughing because Sue said it's mischief night, and she knows I'm quite mischievous. So in summary, self-care, this is my summary, stabilises and improves our health. Being kind to others spreads compassionate practice, which is a sign of integrity and what makes us human. Kindness and compassion are evidence-based personality traits which improve care and help self and colleagues. And my moment of the week for you all was early morning on Crantock Beach in the rain, embracing the solitude and peace, self-care. Did I do it too fast? Thank you.
Thanks for watching this video from the Maternity and Midwifery Forum. For more expert opinion and analysis, hit the button below to subscribe.